I'm Larry Bell, president of Bell's Brewery Incorporated. Here's our tour. This is our brew house. We have a 50-barrel brew house. Originally, we bought the first 3 vessels here from Anheuser-Busch. They originally had it. It was in Southern California. It was the Eureka Brew Pub that was run by Wolfgang Puck and his wife Barbara Lazaroff. She did the design of the Eureka Brew Pub. It was only in operation for about 2 years, and then it got mothballed. So we purchased this this building's about 5.5 years old now. We have, the original building was 31,000 square feet. We're up to about 60,000 square feet now. Originally we had 5 acres. We now have 24 acres out here. So we've got, this brew house has been updated since we originally put it in. We now have 1 mash tun, 2 lauter tuns, 2 brew kettles, and a whirlpool, plus a wort receiver and hot and cold liquor tanks. So at this time of the year, when we're doing primarily Oberon, we can do 16 brews in a 24-hour cycle. And we are going 24 hours a day at this time of year. Not 7 days a week, but 5 days a week we are. Originally it came with the Star Trek control panel here. We have since upgraded it to where it's all run by the computer room over here. The brewer who's on shift, though, still has work to do. It's not completely computers. So they're running upstairs to dump malt and checking on the system here. Malt silos we have outside. We get malt delivered in bulk. So we've got various silos out there for barley and wheat malt, as well as our spent grain handling. You can see the line heading up out here for spent grain. We sell grain to a local dairy farm. So they're in here with their semi-truck several times a week picking up grain. The second brew kettle that we have is our engineering. So basically, as we go through things here, we've got the mash tun and then whatever lauter tun we're going into, and we can be collecting wort in the wort receiver. Then we run it to the first kettle where it gets heated up. That has an external calandria on it. When it gets full, then we pump through the external calandria and into the new kettle up through an internal calandria, and we get just this fantastic boil. So it's a super efficient brew house. Doing 16 brews a day is as efficient as any brew house in the world. So it may not be as big as the big guys, but we're certainly as efficient as them. We have bought Siemens processors now. So we're the first craft brewery in the United States to sign up with Siemens on their Braumat platform. So again, that just helps us with the efficiency with hops and malt prices and everything else going up. It's real important for us to be efficient these days. This is heat exchanger and aeration for wort coming out of the brew house and heading to the cellar. So look at the hop cooler. This is the hop cooler, and we are using all pelletized hops, having the whirlpool. For the way that system is engineered, we have to use pelletized hops. So we have quite a variety of hops. There you got your pellets. We're buying domestic from Willamette and Yakima Valley, as well as some imported hops from Germany and the Czech Republic. And now and then there's something in here, something crazy from England or New Zealand or, who knows, whatever we can get our hands on. Part of milling operations where we are dumping our specialty grain to be milled. Here's where grain is being weighed. It's an inline weighing operation rather than having on a load cell. It just goes through those screws there. So, and this is augering, malt augering system. Right below here is the mill. And it's dusty in here and my lungs don't like it. And we keep our bagged specialty malt up here. Whereas we get most of our malt in bulk in the silos, specialty malt comes in bags. Okay, here's the exciting part. This is the mechanical room. The system from AB came with this boiler originally. That's now our backup. We bought another boiler, so you never know if you have to have a boiler down for a couple days to blow it out. We've got a backup system. That's always nice, is to have that backup. Watch your step here. So then out here we've got malt storage bins here, and then the one on the outside is our spent grain storage bin. So, and this is electrical in here. It's the underbelly of the brewery that you don't always see. So we're in the cellar now, where fermentation is taking place. Right behind us here is a yeast propagator that we'll have online for this fall, because when we're making a lot of specialty beers, we need an extra amount of yeast. So this is something that we bought used and are fixing up. Behind us here is station for the cellar operators, their workstation. Again, the cellar runs 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So there's always somebody here. There's always at least 2 people here, somebody in the brew house and somebody in the cellar. The cellar tanks, again, are controlled by the processors, so that those processors are taking a temperature, I don't know how many hundreds of times a second, so that we have very strict temperature control on fermentation. This is the clean in place system, CIP system. So all the tanks in the cellar all have spray balls. So it's all clean in place that we're doing with them. The tanks in here, the ones that we're looking at right here, these are 200 barrel fermenters. So it takes 4 charges out of the brew house to fill one of those. This is just a small tank that goes in between downtown Kalamazoo and out here for specialty things. These 2 tanks right here are yeast rinks. So that's just for collecting and pitching yeast. As we go down the line then, this row of fermenters came with the system from Anheuser. When we bought the system from Anheuser, there was all kinds of equipment, some that we sold off, some that we kept. There was a bottling line we sold. We're in the process of selling some of the other tanks that we bought from this. So these are 100 barrels. We still have a couple of small tanks to do 50 barrels. If it's something specialty, we can do 50 barrels. And then everything else in this room is a 200 barrel fermenter. This is a relatively new room for the brewery. This was an add-on to the cellar. So in here we have some, again, we have some fermenters.